competitive world, average won't cut it. The Success Launch Point shows you how to stand out, deliver massive value, and rise above the crowd. With on-demand courses, expert coaching, and a community focused on growth, you'll accelerate your career and your paycheck. It's time to level up. Check out modernobserver.com/launchpoint.
Hurricane Melissa makes landfall. The government shutdown continues. A lost Dr. Seuss book discovered, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica Tuesday with 185-mile-per-hour winds, marking the strongest hurricane landfall in the island's recorded history and one of the most powerful storms ever in the Atlantic. The storm made landfall near New Hope, bringing landslides, widespread power outages, and catastrophic flooding, prompting warnings from meteorologists of storm of the century damage. At least 7 deaths have been reported across the Caribbean so far. Melissa is expected to cross Jamaica and hit southeastern Cuba overnight, with evacuations underway for more than 600,000 people. Red Cross officials estimate Melissa will affect at least 1.5 million people in Jamaica alone. Up to 40 inches of rain could fall in some areas, raising fears of deadly landslides. The storm remains a major hurricane and is forecast to hit the southeastern Bahamas by Wednesday evening. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered powerful strikes across Gaza Tuesday after Hamas gunmen opened fire on Israeli troops in the southern city of Rafah. The strikes came after Hamas turned over partial remains of Ofir Tzafati, a hostage already declared dead and buried twice before. Drone footage later revealed Hamas militants had staged the burial and discovery of the remains just prior to the handover. Israeli officials condemned the act as psychological warfare and a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement. Egyptian teams with heavy machinery are now working in Gaza to help locate the remains of hostages buried under rubble. Senate Democrats on Tuesday blocked Republicans' 13th attempt to reopen the government after having nearly a week to mull their options, and with a series of pressure point deadlines rapidly closing in. On the 28th day of the shutdown, Senate Majority Leader John Thune tried to advance the House-passed continuing resolution and was again foiled by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Democratic caucus. Failure to reopen the government on Tuesday came as air traffic controllers missed their first payday. The military is set to miss its first full payday on Friday. Then there is the looming cliff for federal nutrition benefits on Saturday, the same day as open enrollment begins nationwide for Obamacare. Meanwhile, 25 Democratic attorneys generals and governors are suing the Department of Agriculture over the expected November 1st expiration of federal food stamp funding. Up to 42 million people rely on the program, and the plaintiffs argue that USDA must use contingency funds to extend benefits. House Republicans are calling on the Justice Department to launch an investigation into the Biden administration's use of an autopen, an effort they hope will unwind various actions taken by former President Joe Biden. The 100-page report released Tuesday by the House Oversight Committee caps an investigation brought by the panel following questions about Biden's mental acuity. Committee Chair James Comer also asked the D.C. Department of Health's Board of Medicine to conduct an investigation into Biden's doctor. The most significant request associated with the report falls to Attorney General Pam Bondi, including whether any Biden pardons should be overturned. Presidents have across administrations used autopens to sign actions authorized by the president. But House Republicans, in their report, argue that Biden was cognitively impaired and that staff took a laissez-faire approach that treated the use of the autopen as a mundane practice that did not document a chain of command on decisions. Bill Gates, who wrote a book titled How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, released a memo asking people to tone down the doomsday rhetoric around climate change yesterday. One of the loudest voices on the topic shifted his ideology ahead of next month's United Nations Climate Summit. Gates wants the world to focus less on near-term problems like rising temperatures and the increasing number of extreme weather events, and more on humanitarian efforts in developing parts of the world. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said at the company's GTC conference on Tuesday that its Blackwell graphics processing units, the company's fastest AI chips, are now in full production in Arizona. Nvidia said in a video that Blackwell-based systems will now be assembled in the U.S. too. Nvidia is also taking a $1 billion stake in Nokia, the latest partnership for the artificial intelligence chipmaker. A never-before-seen Dr. Seuss book has been discovered in the archives of UC San Diego's Geisel Library and will be published next summer by Random House Children's Books. Titled Sing the 50 United States, the rhyming story features the Cat in the Hat, helping readers learn all 50 states, complete with Seuss's trademark wordplay and rhythm. The manuscript includes original notes and a cover sketch by Ted Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss, with new illustrations by artist Tom Brannan in Seuss's signature style. To celebrate its launch, Dr. Seuss Enterprises and Random House are teaming up with the nonprofit First Book to deliver copies and school supplies to classrooms nationwide. Launching June 2nd, 2026, the book's release will coincide with America's 250th birthday. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.